Welcome to our crazy world of wonder, where Martians eat the chocolate while we ponder.
Hey everyone, welcome back to Martians Eating Chocolate, your favorite YouTube channel where we make history as sweet and as fun as, chocolate. That's all I got. So today, we're making our Martian time machine back to when America was born. It was discovered by the founding fathers, created 3 branches of government, and how the Constitution works, and what made America, America. Grab your chocolate bars and let's blast off into history.
Exploring Earth from near and far, far, far. From pyramids to rocket scenes, this learning.
Eric, can you help us understand how America was formed?
It's like Minecraft. In 1776, we declared independence, like telling Britain we're moving out. In 1781, we had the Articles of Confederation, which didn't work out well, but in 1789, we got a constitution as a nation's rulebook.
How is this like Minecraft?
Imagine the 13 colonies as 13 players. First, everyone did their own thing. Britain was like an unfair server administrator, making harsh rules and banning people once and so often because they didn't follow the rules or whatever. The Articles period was like a server without an admin, so it was total chaos. But no one helped players in trouble or shared the resources. But then, the Constitution came along and created proper server rules. A president, which is the main admin, which is elected, a Congress, moderators making rules, and the Supreme Court, which is the people enforcing the rules. Just like Minecraft needs balanced powers like sword, armor, and food, and server admins and the guys in the SMP, the government has checks and balances.
And the Bill of Rights?
It's like player rights that even admins can't remove. Like freedom to speak your mind about other builds, or as long as you're respectful. I mean, this is kind of outdated, but let's not comment on that right now. What happened on 2025?
Write this down. It makes so much more sense than our textbooks. Thanks, Eric. Who knew gaming could teach us history?
Here's America's growing up story in a nutshell. So in 1776, America wrote the world's most famous kind of moving out statement from Britain, which is the Declaration of Independence, basically saying that we're old enough to make our own rules now, Britain. So then came the messy, teenage years of America, which is the Articles of Confederation. Imagine 13 states acting like siblings who couldn't agree on anything. Not that we had 13 siblings anyways in this world anymore, but anyways, each wanting to be the boss. Finally, in 1787, America got its act together with the Constitution, like getting a driver's license, a real job, or getting into a good university, even though university is not a requirement for getting a prerequisite good job for life, but I'm not yapping here. So, America was ready to be a proper grown-up country. The states learned to work together, share responsibilities, and follow the same house rules. And that's how America grew up to become the nation we know and love today.
Hey guys, can someone break down the 3 branches of government for me?
Oh, it's like our school bake sale. Look at this cookie.
Another food example, Eric?
Trust me, Congress is like the recipe committee. They decide what kind of cookies to make.
And let me guess, the principal is like the president?
Exactly. And she makes sure everybody follows the recipe and no one's secretly adding extra sugar. And when Joey and Sarah fought over the last cupcake yesterday...
Ha, that's the Supreme Court, right? Making sure everything's fair.
Bingo! They decided to split it. That's checks and balances. Nobody gets all the treats.
Like how I just checked your cookie supply?
Hey, we need a Supreme Court ruling here.
Order in court, equal cookie rights for all. But wait, how do they keep each other in line?
Oh, it's like our school clubs, like when the drama club wanted the unlimited budget, and when the good music club tries to invite me to play, but I'm already in another band.
The student council said, no way, and limited their funding.
Right. Just like the Congress controls the president's spending. And remember when the chess club made that crazy mandatory rule about mandatory chess lessons? Yeah, that's...
And Principal Thompson vetoed it, like the president's veto power?
And exactly. And when both clubs try to make it pizza only Friday, that...
The student court ruled it unfair to kids with allergies, like the Supreme Court checking if laws are constitutional?
You got it. Each group can stop the others from going too far. It's like having 3 friends share one Nintendo Switch. That happened on Sunday, and they have to agree on the games. So, think about this. What if someone in our class had all the power to make every single rule? That's not very fun, right? That's exactly what the founding fathers were worried about when creating America. They didn't want one person to have too much power like King George III did. Ew, King George III. So, they came up with a brilliant solution: democracy. Splitting the power 3 ways. Congress makes the laws, where we can vote on class rules. The president makes sure that laws are followed, just like teachers, this is an analogy of the classroom anyways. And finally, solve disputes, like having a referee in sports. It's like having 3 different friendships in charge of different parts of a game. They have to work together, but nobody can become too bossy. This is not entirely true because of corruption, but that was, what we were founded on. So that's why we have the Constitution. It's America's rulebook that makes sure power is shared fairly. Pretty cool how they figured that out, isn't it? Now, we can enjoy the voices of the people of the United States. Let's hear from them, shall we?
We, the people of the United States, in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, provide for the common defense, promote the general welfare, and secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and our posterity, to ordain and establish this Constitution for the United States of America. 407 years ago, our fathers brought forth on this continent a new nation, conceived in liberty and dedicated to the proposition that all men are created equal. I have a dream that one day this nation will rise and live out the true meaning of its creed. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal. Emma, what job would you want in the government? I'd love to be a senator. I could write laws and debate them. Well, you know how I love debating in school. But what about you, Victoria? President, definitely. I love public speaking and I could connect with people across the country. Makes sense. I'll be in Congress keeping your presidential powers in check. Then I'll veto your laws. And I'll get enough votes to override your veto. That's checks and balances.
Hi, Katie.
Hey, Mom.
I have some fun questions for you about American symbols. Let's start with the flag. Can you tell me what the American flag looks like?
It's red, white, and blue, and also has stars and stripes.
That's right. Now, do you know why there are 13 stripes on the flag?
I don't know.
The 13 stripes stand for the very first 13 colonies that became states when America was founded. Pretty cool, huh?
Oh, what about the stars?
Great question. The stars stand for the state. We have 50 states now, so there are 50 stars. If we got a new state, we'd have to add another.
Wow, so the flag could change?
Yep. It has changed many times in history as new states joined. Now, here's a tricky question about money. Have you ever looked closely at a dollar bill?
Yes, it has a face on it.
That's right. Today, we put famous people like presidents on money, but do you know what was printed on America's very first paper money?
Maybe numbers?
Good guess. But actually, they printed leaves on them.
Leaves like from trees?
Yep, they use real leaves to make patterns because every leaf has a unique design, kind of like a fingerprint. That made it harder for people to copy the money and make
That's so cool.
Okay, last question. Do you know what America's national animal is?
A bear?
Oh, good guess. But it's actually the bald eagle.
Oh, why did they pick that?
Because bald eagles are strong, independent, and can fly really high. They also have amazing eyesight and can spot their food from really far away. The bald eagle represents strength and freedom, which is why Americans chose it.
That's awesome.
Hi everyone, I'm Preston Ju and I'm 8 years old. Today we're talking about something you see all the time but maybe never really thought about. Who are the famous faces on the US dollar bills? Let's get started with the smallest one and work our way up. $1 bill. George Washington. This man, totally legend. He was the very first president of the United States and led the country during the American Revolutionary War. He helped start a lot of early traditions. $2 bill. Thomas Jefferson. He was a super smart man. Jefferson wrote the Declaration of Independence, and he was the third president. Oh, and he loved science and learning. Basically, he was a real-life genius. $5 bill. Abraham Lincoln. You know this man with the tall hat. Honest Abe was the 16th president, and he worked hard to keep the U.S. together during the Civil War and help end slavery. Definitely a man worth putting on the money. $10 bill. Alexander Hamilton. Okay, so you might know Hamilton from the musical, but did you know that he was the first Secretary of the Treasury? That means he helped create the American banking system. He also helped write the Constitution, so basically he was a big deal in making the U.S. what it is today. $20 bill. Andrew Jackson. Jackson was the 17th president and a tough military leader. He fought in the Battle of New Orleans and made voting available to more people. But history is complicated. He was also a pretty controversial guy. $50 bill. Ulysses Grant. He was a great general who helped win the Civil War for the North and later become the 18th president. A strong leader and off the battlefield. $100 bill. Benjamin Franklin. The big bucks. Benjamin Franklin was never a president, but he was a founding father, scientist, writer, and diplomat. He made cool discoveries about electricity, helped write the Declaration of Independence, and was one of the smartest people in history. And that's who's on our money. Next time you get some cash, take a closer look at them. See you next time.
Hello, my name is Adora. Why do we have the Statue of Liberty? We have the Statue of Liberty because it is the sign of U.S. freedom, and the French people gave this to the American country as a celebratory gift for their freedom. The Statue of Liberty is currently located in New York. Would America have won independence without French help? I don't think American people would have won independence without the help of France because they played a humongous role in the American victory in the Revolutionary War because they provided a lot of resources for them.
Did you know that the Declaration of Independence wasn't signed on July 4th? They actually signed it later, on August 2nd, 1776. They just agreed to it on July 4th. Benjamin Franklin was the oldest signer. He was 70. That's pretty old. The youngest was Edward Rutland. He was only 26, so super young compared to the others. Before George Washington, there was a guy named John Hancock. He was the president of the Continental Congress. He's the one who signed the Declaration really big, so everyone could see it. The first U.S. capital after the Constitution was made was New York City. It wasn't always Philadelphia like we think.
The Boston Tea Party. So what was the Boston Tea Party? Well, imagine this. It's December 16th, 1773 in Boston, Massachusetts. A bunch of colonists dressed up like Native Americans, they wanted to keep it a secret, snuck onto 3 British ships. These ships were loaded with tea, like a lot of tea. And guess what? The colonists dumped all of it into the Boston harbor. But wait, why was tea such a big deal back then? Because it was a huge part of colonial life. People drank it every day, and it was super fancy. It was a way to relax, socialize, and even show off a little. But the problem wasn't the tea itself. It was a tax on tea. The British government said, hey, you have to pay extra for tea. And the colonists were like, no way, that's not fair. The British got really mad after the Boston Tea Party. They punished Boston with strict rules, which is called taxation without representation. The colonists didn't have a say in British government, but they still had to pay taxes, which made them really mad. So the Boston Tea Party was their way of saying enough is enough. Soon they started fighting for the independence, and boom, the American Revolution began.
So imagine you had to choose between two things. Would you rather spend money on sending rockets to space to find a new planet for humans to live on, or spend it on helping kids who don't have enough food right now? Space is cool, but people are hungry. Which one?
I would rather space, because what if a big asteroid smashes Earth like in the dinosaur movie? Then everyone's hungry and squished. If we find another planet, we can live there and eat space food, plus islands. Aliens might have cool stuff to share, like space candy or floating chairs. Okay, but what about the voting age? Should it be higher or lower? I mean, I'm smart enough to vote, alright? I know a lot of stuff, like how dinosaurs have tiny arms and the spaghetti is awesome.
I think 18 is fine, but maybe it could be a little lower, 16, because teens are already learning about the government in school. I'm 10 in grade 5, and I'm already learning about the Supreme Court and the legislative branch and stuff. So 16 years olds also have jobs, but you, no offense, but you probably vote for someone who promises dinosaur pets and free spaghetti for life. So yeah, maybe higher than 10-year-old, but at least lower than 18. Yeah, and that's it for today. Bye-bye.
Hey Agnes, want to learn some cool things about the Constitution that most kids don't know about?
Like what?
Well, did you know that the Constitution has special rules for emergencies? If something really bad happens, the president gets extra powers to protect everyone.
Like mom getting special powers when there's a storm?
Exactly. And here's something interesting. States have rights too. They can make their own laws about schools, parks, and lots of other things.
Is that why California has different rules than Texas?
Yep, and here's a fun fact. The vice president's main job is to actually be in charge of the Senate meetings, but they only get to vote if there's a tie.
Like being a backup referee?
Sort of. Oh, and there's this cool thing called impeachment. It's like a timeout for government officials who break the rules.
Even the president?
Even the president! And one more thing. All states get 2 senators, no matter how big or small they are. It's like everyone getting equal turns at recess.
That makes the small states happy, right?
Yeah, exactly, see? The Constitution thinks of everything.
Today's second last question is, if you were to work at a U.S. government position, what would you be? I would choose to be NASA, because you can explore space, see tons of new stuff, which I'd really like to do. And I've seen tons of people in space and astronauts in books, so I think that'd be very cool. The second question for today is, a nation of 2.5 million when the U.S. gained independence. Its population was only about 2.5 million. How does that compare to the population of your city/country today? The country I live in is Canada, and the estimated population of it is 40.1 million in 2023, which compared when the U.S. gained independence is about 1.5 million. Today's third question is, did you know George Washington's troops used animals during the Revolutionary War? The animal was used to deliver messages. The answer to this question is yes. During the Revolutionary War, homing pigeons were used to deliver messages. These birds were highly valued for the ability to find their way back home over long distances, even in difficult conditions. Messages would be written on small pieces of paper rolled up and attached to the pigeons like in a small tube or pouch. Today's third question is, during the Revolutionary War, spies used secret codes and invisible ink. What common household item did they use to reveal invisible messages? During the Revolutionary War, spies used heat from a common household item, such as a candle or iron, to reveal invisible ink messages. Invisible ink was made from substances like lemon juice or milk, would remain unseen until the paper was gently heated, causing the hidden writing to darken and become visible.
Hi, what's your name?
My name is Agnes.
What grade are you in?
4.
Okay, so today I'm gonna ask you some questions regarding laws and justice, I guess. So firstly, if you helped build a new country, what would be your first 3 rules?
No harming people, because people could get really hurt and they would go to the hospital. My second rule is protect people's privacies, because then everyone would feel safe and they would feel protected in their homes and on the internet. My third rule is treat everyone fairly, because if one race had more privileges than the other, then it wouldn't feel fair for that race. But if the other race had more privileges, then the other race wouldn't feel fair either.
Now on to the second question. Which one do you think is more important, personal freedom or helping others?
I think helping others is more important, because if you care about yourself and no one else, you wouldn't really have anyone that would be there and care for you. But if you help others, they would remember it, and if you need them, they can help you when you need help, because you helped them before.
Okay, and finally, when do you think kids should start making their own decisions?
I think they should make their own decisions when they're old enough and more responsible. They can take care of themselves and they can survive in the world more easily without their parents.
Okay, thank you.
Hi, I'm Evan, and I'm 10 years old. The first question is about freedom of speech. What does it mean to you? Should there be any limits on what people can say? I think about freedom of speech. It's very important that people get to speak without any interference, retaliation, or punishment. This way, everyone is respected and considered, and people have their own ideas and opinions. But I also think that people should have a limit to free speech. People shouldn't be hurt because of free speech. People shouldn't be mean, racist, or threatening to others. Everyone should be kind to each other. The second question is, look at this map of the 13 original colonies. If you were a British military commander in 1776, which colony would you try to capture first and why? I personally think it would be best to take over the Pennsylvania colony because, first of all, it has lots of rich food such as milk, eggs, and fruits, including peaches, grapes, cherries, and apples, hay, corn, and mushrooms. Next, its population is a great amount. It's not too much nor too less, around 13 million people. Lastly, the geographical features are not the best, but they're very beautiful. There's a mountain right behind the city. The third question is, imagine you're designing a new voting system. How would you make it fair for everyone? How would you protect it from cheating? How would you encourage more people to vote? I actually think that I wouldn't change anything about the current voting system in Canada. It's a very nice and fair system. I like how every area has its own ballot box, and then the area reports to the election officer, which counts the votes and then announces. I would protect it from cheating so when they put it in the ballot box, they will now have to put in their email. They will have to sign a petition, they need their signature, and they will also need a password. The last question is community versus individual. If your rights make someone else unhappy, what should we do? How much should we limit our own freedom to help others? I think that it's okay how people don't always get what they want. Life isn't always fair, and it's okay. People can always try again next time. It's a very serious issue, then we could maybe try to chat and maybe calm them down. If that doesn't work, then we could definitely try to rearrange the voting system and things. But if, he's the only one that voted for this guy, and all the other people voted for another guy, then we can't really do anything about it. We can only try to comfort him using words, but we can't really do anything about it. So we can't be unfair to other people just for one person.
This question is often asked. What is the minimum age that should be used for social media? Well, in my opinion, I think that 13 years old is a good age. Many kids say that social media is benefiting them in a large way. Although many teenagers spend over 95% of their free time on social media, it also makes them feel more accepted, according to 58% of kids. 80% say that they feel more connected about what's going on outside of their home. 87% of teens feel like they have more friends and they have more people to talk to during hard times. And 71% people feel like it shows off their creativity and it's a good platform to share with them with their creations. All this was from bgca.org. There are many benefits to social media, but we also have to keep in mind that when used incorrectly or when taken too seriously, it can cause bad habits for kids below the age of 13. Roses are red, violets are blue. Voting is serious, not just for you. Under 18, you're still growing. Life experiences keeps on showing. Individuals under the age of 18 should not be allowed to vote because of their lack of maturity, life experiences, financial responsibilities necessary to make the full informed decisions about government, policies, and leaders. Clearly, this is not a good choice. First of all, people under 18 are very easy to brag. Therefore, they're influenced by their parents. If their parents does enough bragging, then they can clearly tell them to vote for a president that they don't demand. Plus, they don't even know what's going on in the outside world. Let's face it, kids don't watch the news. They'd rather spend 95% of their time scrolling through Instagram and TikTok. Therefore, they're not educated enough to make these important decisions that are life-changing to the world and to everybody else. Only 35% of people in the world are kids below the age of 18. Kids do not deal with tax, rent, and many other responsibilities financially. Therefore, they don't face the same problems as these adults do. This demands that they should have no say to something they don't even need to worry about. Overall, we think that kids should not be able to vote. Firstly, they're very easily to be bragged. Next, they clearly aren't educated enough. Only a small portion of the world are kids, approximately 10%. Therefore, they won't make that much of a difference. And also, kids aren't dealing with the same problems as these highly educated adults are. Therefore, they're lacking on experiences and financial responsibilities. With all these reasons, I think that kids should not be able to vote.
If I could work in any U.S. government position, I would choose to be a senator. As a senator, I would have the power to create laws and make decisions that help people across the country. I would focus on making sure everyone has access to education, healthcare, and a safe place to live. I would also work on protecting the environment and improving the economy so that families have more opportunities to succeed. Being a senator will allow me to make a real difference in people's lives. For the budget decision, I would choose the African Hunger Relief Program. While space exploration is important to the future, fixing hunger is a greater issue that affects millions of people today. Children starving do not have the time to wait for long-term scientific improvements. They need food and aid now. By funding hunger relief, we can save lives immediately and help communities become stronger and more self-acceptable. In the future, once critical needs are met, we can focus more in space exploration. However, for now, ensuring that no one is hungry should be our top priority.
Hello, my name is Winnie and I'm currently in grade 8. My answer to the idea of lowering the voting age to 16 is that I disagree. Not every teenager has a unique perspective, therefore they may treat voting like a game. But what they don't understand is that every vote casted can impact the final results. I will support my opinion with the following points. Firstly, 18 is a year where young men and women are graduating high school, going into college, and starting to engage in political and social activism. That's when they should start taking part in voting because it is the best time for them to learn about it while going into college with other students. Secondly, 18 is considered the age of maturity in many families for a reason. In America, it's when you can go into the military, when you can marry, and it's when you can sit on a jury. Giving teenagers a few more years to learn and understand the importance of voting so that they may have enough time to prepare for their turn to vote is very important. Thirdly, teenagers have more life experiences at the age of 18. They have seen the world thoroughly through different lenses. When teens don't know that voting impacts an important part of society, they may just vote what their parents vote. But every voter should know to look through all parties and make their own decisions for their own futures instead of trusting someone else on their vote. Overall, I believe the voting age should be kept at 18 because not every teenager may treat voting as important. 18 is considered the age of maturity and we should follow this. Many opportunities are given at 18 and so should the opportunity to vote.
Thank you for watching, fellow Martians who are eating chocolate. If you enjoyed our Martian chocolate flavored journey through American history, so don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to our channel. Also, please drop a comment in the section because we need algorithm telling people to come to our channel because we're not having that much right now. And also, tell us what historic topic you want us to explore next time. Are you gonna be eating cookies or learning about ancient Egypt maybe in like medieval Europe? Anyway, so just remember, history isn't always about the past. It's about understanding where we are now and where we might go in the future based on it's like saying that your baby photos aren't just pictures of the past, but they are the story of how you became you. That's a great analogy. And please comment, like, and subscribe because the algorithm likes that. And thank you. We'll see you next time.